See, all I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. Cause all they really want to do is just to get in touch with big bucks. Cause they think that the money gives them the power. But the power is nothing if your people cannot get quality education. The power is if your people have no peace, no peace. The power is nothing if your people cannot live in unity. Hey, see why you keep on deceiving the people, my brother, my sister. See why you make all these people today fight one another. Oh no. Only God can judge you now. 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 Another yes. And now you want I go once. If you like say they want to tell me another story again. If you like say I want to act another movie again. If you like say they want to do another deceiving again. If you like say they want to dance, nothing new dance again. They want to sing another song. They want to sing. If you like say they want to dance, they want to dance. I dedicate this one to all of the shady politicians. Make a promise and pray and make the people live in harsh conditions. Dedicate this one to all of the shady politicians. Why don't you change your ways? Change your ways now. Make the people live the way they're supposed to live. Yeah.
It's the second lap of the special Edo Governorship 2020 election coverage on Pensioners 106.7 FM, Agbarigo, Onireke, Ibadan. My name is Pius Nsabe. We were here earlier on in the morning between 10 and 12 p.m. to give you updates on the election. Of course, we got reports from different parts of Edo State from our correspondents stationed in those places. We also had in-house analysts who discussed issues around the Edo election, from the issues of godfatherism to the issues of security deployment, even to the election going on amid the COVID-19 and preparations by INEC and everything having to do with the Edo 2020 election. Now, from reports we are getting, voting has ended practically in all parts of the state, except, of course, if there are exceptions, which we will get to know as the program progresses. And so there is a very strong need for us to bring you updates on happenings so far, so good, as we gradually move towards the end of the Edo 2020 election. So, again, we are going to be hearing from our various correspondents in different parts of Edo State, who will be giving us latest information about happenings in that election. But I'm not going to be doing this alone in the studio this afternoon. I have an analyst, Mr. William Ero. William, you're welcome on this special Edo 2020 coverage.
It's nice to be here once again.
Yes, I'm also expecting another analyst. Once he steps into the studio, definitely I will introduce him to you. Well, Williams, incidentally, you are from Edo State.
Yes, that is my state.
Of what interest is this election to you?
Well, like any Nigerian, more so being my state, I'm truly interested to see that things work according to how they should work. Chooses eventually emerge as the governor of the state. I'm quite interested. We are talking about progress, and progress cannot come except you have the kind of leadership that should be in place. So hopefully the voices of the people will be allowed to speak and then we'll go from there.
Have you been monitoring the election so far so good?
Yes, I have been, because I've been calling my siblings and their friends back home, and I've been asking them, how are things going? Some of them, from what we heard in the morning, yes, there has been some skirmishes. There has been some pocket of violence here and there, and there has been the allegation of vote buying. Also, they have also alluded to that. By and large, it is what we have come to expect from our election. So that is just it.
Let's get an update from one of our correspondents who is in Edo State now. Hello, hello, Clementina. Hello, Clementina. Can you hear me? Yeah, you are live on Pensioners 106.7 FM, Ibadan.
Okay.
What is your location now?
Now I'm in Owan East, local government area of Edo State.
Okay, what is happening there? We understand voting has ended in Edo State. Can you confirm that to us?
Yeah, some parts voting has ended, and they started counting results.
Okay. So would you give us a sense of what transpired in the course of the day during the election in those polling units that you have visited so far?
Okay, was 7 units 1 to 5. The voting started at 9 after 9 and ended 3 o'clock. And they started counting the results, the ballot papers. Then was 8 and was 9. They finished voting, then they are counting, collecting the results. Also, in the part of Owan East, like what 11, they finished voting also, and they're already collecting the results.
Okay. We heard of attempted ballot box snatching in some places in Edo State. Did you notice any such? Or did you observe any such where you the places you covered so far?
No one is I covered only one is, and the elections have been relatively peaceful. The next place that there was a little discrepancy, there was 4 on one is that We were told that there was some issues. The chairman came and disrupted the process, and as when I heard the news, voting has not started then, but I don't know of now.
Okay. The issue of vote buying too, we heard of that in some polling units in Edo State. Can you confirm that to us?
Well, throughout my work, I've not seen any vote buying, but I heard that some both parties were buying votes, but I didn't see such. I didn't see any.
How about security presence? How heavy or light is it?
The security was very, very tight. And people comported themselves. People comported themselves. But security was tight.
Okay. By your own rating, so far, how would you rate the election, generally speaking? How would you rate the election compared with those you probably have seen in the past?
The election is peaceful, one, it is free and it is fair. Everybody had the opportunity to vote for their candidate, and their vote are counted, and people see to that their vote counted in their presence. So far so good. I'll give the election 80%.
Okay. All right, Celestina, do you have any other thing you would like to update us on?
Anyone?
Is there any other update you would like to give to us as far as the elections in those states are concerned?
No update. It's only when they start collecting it at the different LGA election centers or more near the update. Who is leading, who is in early lead, and the rest.
Okay. How enthusiastic are the people about this election?
The election is a tough one. It's between 2 political parties, and the candidates are very well known, well grounded, and people are admitting that their vote counts, and the person that they want, the person that they really desire to rule the state, will emerge winner.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking with us on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, while we were talking, our second analyst, Mr. Femi Olukule, stepped into the studio. It's nice having you on this special coverage.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Have you been monitoring the Edo election?
Of course, I have been.
What's your impression so far with the things you have seen?
What I've read on online has given me a mixed feeling.
Okay.
Mixed feelings in the sense that one, it is something that gladdens one's heart that the election, as at the time I read last, was going on. Well, I read about some pockets of violence here and there. And I also read about governor of Rivers State and his colleagues from PDP from going out. And given the fact that that governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, is a chairman of a campaign committee for PDP.
But campaign ended yesterday. Is he supposed to go out?
Yes, it ended yesterday, but the fact on the ground is that his colleagues from the other party, the other major party, APC, are still there. And according to what the people that spoke online said, the Constitution guarantees movement of freedom of movement for every Nigerian. You have the right, inalienable right, to be wherever you want to be, so long you don't break the law. So I read that the security operatives told him to leave to Edo State. That is wrong under the law, because the Constitution says you can be wherever you want to be, so long you don't disturb the peace of the people.
But in this case, we all know the motive of these governors going to Edo State at this time. We know that they are championing the campaigns of their various candidates, and we know the motive. It's not as if they visited Edo for any other reason. It's for political reason. And if that is the case, Williams, I want to get your own take now, whether it is APC, PDP, APM, or any other party. Are this set of people supposed to be in Edo State even as we speak now, given that their reasons for being in the state ended 24 hours to this time? Since they don't have any other business being there.
Honestly, they are not there for excursion or for sightseeing. They came because of the election. But what we are saying is this: if you allowed movement to one party, then you cannot deny movement to another. That's what we are saying. We're talking about a level playing field. Yes, this has become a staple in our polity. That during election you have these so-called high-power delegations coming to the state, allowed. Somehow the laws has been bent for one to be there. Then give the other also the same preference. But yeah, we are saying that a party and those that are affiliates to that party, they've been allowed to do what they want to do. And why are you now trying to stop the other from doing the same thing? That is the problem. Morally, yes, they should not be there because they're like interfering with the process on ground, because that is on their state. And they are not from Edo State, but they are there because somehow it has become a part of our polity. But then let's guarantee level playing field for everybody. That is the major issue there.
Okay, William, as an Edo man, I would like you to give us a sense of the political structure in Edo State relative to the geographical structure of that state. Now, I'm talking about in terms of the various political zones, senatorial, and the rest of them. How would all this play out with respect to the various candidates that are being paraded in this election, particularly the two candidates seen as the frontline candidates?
The major area that will decide this election is that South Central Zone, where the governor,
that is Southern Senatorial District,
yes,
where
the two leading candidates comes from.
Candidates.
That is where truly we are going to define this election. Now, there is this there's Owan Southwest, there is Ovia Northeast, there is this Igwebe, there is Ego. there is Uhunde, there is Ikoba Oha, there is Orionwo, and there is Oredo.
Okay.
These are the areas where this election is going to be highly contested because both candidates, they are from that region, and that the vote is going to be split there. Because as you well know, some will go for Izeyamu, some will go for Obaseki. But the other areas like Auchi, Ekpoma, Aganibode,
yes, where Comrade Adams is also a factor in this.
Yeah, he's a major factor. In fact, he is the factor. The governor, quote unquote, and is running for the aspirant that is running for APC is not really a factor. We did not hear much of his voice during the campaign, during at least whatever campaign they say they did. We didn't hear his voice. It was Oshomole. Oshomole is a factor, and in his own zone, Oshomole's zone, he is not that popular in that zone. But still, as long as we have come to indulge ourselves in this money politics, and he has some to spend, if it comes to that, then perhaps we may see that playing a vital role there. But I believe that, by and large, it is going to be a close election because say what you want about Izeyamu, he is a grassroots politician. He knows how to mobilize, and he has the structures in virtually all the local governments of the state. So he is going to be a tough candidate, but I believe that the presence of Oshomole somehow, and what has been said leading to the election, has polarized a few of those that perhaps would have loved to vote for him. But then let's look at how things play out.
Okay, let me take Mr. Lukule's view. We have 14 candidates, but here we are narrowing everything down to just 2 persons. Is there a problem with that?
No, there's no problem. But we have reality. We have reality. Somebody said, earlier this week that we have 2 political parties in this country. And if you look at it, yes, we have so many parties, but the parties that have weight, political weight, they are 2, the PDP and the APC. So, it is not surprising when we hear noises being made about PDP and APC. So that is just it. But you see, before I go, I need to say, chip in something to what my colleague said.
That would be good.
Where Oshomole comes from is where Phillips, the deputy governor, also comes from. So Phillips is, according to what I read, he has an advantage over him because he's from there. But you see, I learned, and incidentally, the chief press secretary to Phillips Shiaibu happens to be my colleague when I was news editor in Tribune. He was news editor in one of these newspapers in Lagos. We used to meet. So, Phillips Shiaibu is also
we'll get to you shortly, Ben. Just hold on a bit. Okay. So round off your thought.
In that place. So, like I said, the vote in that place we
swing either way. So
exactly.
In the Southern Senatorial District, it is between the 2 leading candidates, and then in the Northern Senatorial District, the deputy governor of Godfather and the PDP will slug it out with that of
Oshomole. And Oshomole happened to be his former godfather. The godfather to the deputy governor.
Okay, let's get our correspondent, Ben Ogbemudia, who has been monitoring events for us in Edo State. Hello, Ben.
Good evening, my big brother.
Good evening. We are doing fine. How has everything been? How has the monitoring been for you?
Well, it has been good. In some areas, there are some problems where you see some talks loyal to one of the major political parties harassing, shooting sporadically, chasing people away. Even in the immediate deputy governor of the state, that is the deputy governor to Adas Oshomole's unit,
yes,
there was heavy shooting, and at the end of the day, the election was cancelled. So the same thing happened in many areas. in Edo North, where the incumbent deputy governor's boys were chasing, hijacking, and tried to lobby the electoral officers. But the security people were equally up to the task, and the government is the local government where the APC candidate is from. So after casting his vote around that 11:45, he spoke to journalists and expressed explicit confidence.
Satisfaction from what we are reading.
Yes, he was so confident and so satisfied with what he saw, and expressing hope that at the end of the day he will win the elections. So to the side of, but as I speak to you now, I'm in one of those collation centers.
Okay.
The results are coming in.
Voting has ended.
Yeah, many centers have ended. They have ended voting, and they are returning to collection center. Where I presently am now is a collection center. So people are returning their results. They are transmitting to the INEC portal. That is the various ward units and ward.
Yes, I was going to ask, because INEC had said that it was going to be giving real-time update of the election with the new technology it's brought into the system.
Yes,
Is that playing out?
It's playing out because at this ward headquarters here, you can see them. You can see them doing that. They are. You see all the collections officers there transmitting the results coming from the different units to the portal. So that's what is going on. So I believe INEC are currently living up to their duties.
But we had reports of malfunctioning. I mean, a plethora of them, of the card readers.
Well, I've actually monitored rural areas where the cars are working. All the areas I visited, the cars are working perfectly. Nothing like malfunctionings. But I in person does not. I didn't really witness such complaints.
We heard somebody was shot dead somewhere. Have you had any such report?
Well, I said something earlier that in that is those central side, somebody was shot, but he's not dead. He had a gun injuries and he was rushed. It's, just as I was complaining to you, or as I was reporting earlier on that. Some thoughts loyal to support a major political or one of the major political parties have been shooting politically, scaring people away, trying to hijack ballot papers. Such situations is what happened in Edo Center, where one of the voters is indefinitely shot.
Okay. Is there any other thing special you would like our listener to know as far as the Edo election is concerned? Personally, what's your assessment of the process so far?
For now, you cannot really assess. The results are just coming in. We are still watching. Maybe anything happen, as usual, I will feed you back.
All right. Thank you very much, Ben Okomodia, for that wonderful report from the state there for us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gentlemen, you heard him. The issue of violence still prevails.
I thought to preempt this violence, that was why we had the police presence in such high number, in the state. And where the shooting was going on, I want to ask myself, were the policemen present there? If they were present, how come
policemen don't carry weapons on election days.
You see,
so even if there was shooting, what did you expect?
You see,
somebody without arms to do.
You see, these thugs, we are aware of their activities. Normally, they do not come to police booths without being armed. So why you would send, perhaps they thought the presence of a policeman there or two would dissuade the people, these thugs, from carrying out their nefarious activities. But that is an aberration. Because these thugs, if they decide to come, they come prepared for whatever they want to do. So the police, the reason why you are there is that you should be able to match them if they came with violence. Now you can't, it's like you take a stick to a gunfight. So if you cannot match these boys, with the kind of intention they came with, then why are you there?
maybe Mr. Olukule should give us his own side of it.
Yeah.
You know, whenever we have elections like this, deployments are done of security personnel, and we are the ones who still criticize the government for deploying security. Yet we know our political landscape, how volatile it is. Look at what is happening in those days. And even with the deployment, we know that on election days, the police particularly don't bear arms. How do all these things play out?
Up to the election we held in 2015, 2019, last year.
Yes,
I monitored it. I have been monitoring elections for so many years in this country. The last one I monitored it from the first one to the very last one. It is civil to disallow the police from carrying weapons on the day of election.
yes.
But we are a peculiar people. You see, civility of that nature works elsewhere, but here in Nigeria it does not work. You see, I believe that the handlers of this nation ought to have learned. When I say handlers, the presidency, the National Assembly, ought to have learned from what transpired in Osun, what happened in Kogi, where even a human being was locked up in her house and they burnt her up with in her house there.
Yes.
And sporadic shooting and snatching of ballot boxes and the destruction of properties and the votes, everything. All these things were recorded. Somebody ought to have done something in the National Assembly to make law against this thing, even if they are going to allow the police to carry arms. And then sensitization, they will sensitize the electorate that, look, it's just like when you see a policeman, a normal policeman who is not drunk, carrying arms, you can walk up to him because you know that arm is carrying is for your protection. But when you see a thug or an armed robber carrying arms, you have to run away because you know it is for to injure you, to harm you. So when people are well educated that look, they are not there to use it against you, but to protect you, people will not be afraid. You see, it is useless to make a one or two or three policemen to man a polling booth, and you see, and he doesn't have anything to fight with. It's just like you ask him to move mountain, and you have not given him the tools to use. So, and when these bandits, these miscreants come with weapons, they are helpless, and they have their own lives to protect too, because they are somebody's father, somebody's husband, somebody's child, somebody's brother. So they have to protect their lives too. So this thing is a lacuna in the operations at the National Assembly.
So your point is that the security operatives should be allowed to bear arms on election day
because of our peculiarity. I think we should.
Okay, now from what Ben Ogbemudia reported, the APC governorship candidate expressed confidence and satisfaction with the process. But the same cannot be said of the PDP candidate, who complained that the process was slow and it faulted INEC's preparation, the same way that the former governor, Comrade Adams Oshomole, did. So is it a question of different strokes for different folks, Williams?
It depends. These things, we cannot have a uniformity. That is certain. It depends on perhaps where the incumbent voted and where the Yamu voted. So he voted in Orion. Perhaps in that area things worked to his own satisfaction.
Okay,
that was why he said what he said, because he was there. He noticed how swiftly things moved. Okay. Then the governor, went to where he voted. Also, he gave us his own feedback.
He had issues
that was slow and the rest things. And the former governor also gave the same report that perhaps there was lapses here and there that needs to be corrected. Yes, these things they are normal in our climate. You understand? I would not expect a perfection. So
in the election.
In the election. But the issue there, as
he said,
as my colleague was saying, is that, as I said before,
hold on, Ernest, we'll get to you.
At the heart of this is the electoral reform. All these problems, they are not novel. They are not new. We have talked in the Ekiti election. We talked about the same problem. In Kogi election, we talked about the same problem.
All right, we will continue. Let's hear from our correspondent, Ernest, who is strategically positioned again to fill us in on developments in Edo State. Hello, Ernest.
Hello.
Where are you this time around?
Yes. Well, I am. I've just left East Don't work to me. I've got a couple of you are not supposed to announce any result on it, but
Definitely.
we have had a very peaceful election, and there was no fire except at the headquarters of the local government, Unit 6 in Obiaja, where reports have it that an attempt was made to snatch the do some one of those things.
Yes.
And then there was a kind of exchange of gunfire leading to the death of one of the hoodlums.
Deaths.
Yes,
Okay.
of one of the hoodlums. In it 6, I'm told. I've not confirmed that.
Okay.
But there's a death actually.
Okay.
Outside of that, the whole thing has been largely peaceful.
Is it to your surprise?
Yes. Well, I have always been here in Edo State. Anything that concerns Edo State, there's this hype prior.
Yes. That's why I asked you.
Almost at all times, the hype is never, what the real situation turns out to be. And that's what I actually told a lot of people. Look, we are just overhyping the whole thing. At the end of the day, we'll get a very peaceful election. So far, so good. That's what the situation is. I'm not surprised. So a lot of people may be surprised, but I'm not, definitely, because I've been here for a long time.
Okay. Where exactly are you now?
I am heading towards Igbanke, still within Edo State. And apart from the security situation, policemen and the rest of them on the highway, there is absolutely no reason for anybody to panic or people assume that anything untoward is happening.
Had there been any cases of harassment of voters from anywhere? Have you heard any such reports?
I am not aware of any such within, for instance, Eastern Southeast local government. In fact, all the reports I've been having, I do not know of anyone that has, clearly indicate that there is such harassment. Now, social media thing, when you rely on it, it may be misleading. I have a situation, for example, where somewhere in the north, there was an attempt also to subvert the will of the people, so to speak, and then it resulted in a little bit of fracas, but it was resolved as it were, and nothing went wrong there. That is just a social media report. I tried to confirm it from my sources, and none of them was disposed, to talking right now.
Okay. We had cases of card readers not really working well. Of course, we are used to that, where you hear that card readers are not working well, and after some time, they will be replaced. Did you observe any such?
Yes. At some point where I was in a unit in my area, there was a hiccup. It stopped. It wasn't reading. They switched it off, turned it on again, and then it picked up. And the situation, what we had from Benin, where initial reports had it that the card readers floundered, kind of. But after a while, it turned out right again and started picking up. And since then, we've not had anything to the contrary.
Okay. So no special area of highlight you would like us to know of?
Certainly not for that, because the results are coming out. They are as expected, and so no nothing to talk about that is really surprising for now.
I would have loved to ask you as expected. Unfortunately, there are some kinds of information that this kind of program will not allow us to give on the air now. But thank you so much for the wonderful work you have been doing.
I appreciate you too.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, gentlemen. I don't know. It seems as if it's everything is just smooth from what we are hearing. Although he reported a case of death, like we said earlier.
Yes. that was what we prayed for. And we're happy that we are hearing that from somebody who's on 100% peace. Because I'm not trying to disparage Nigerians, but I know the kind of chemistry that Nigerians have.
Is it about Nigerians or about human beings?
Nigerians.
So we have a special kind of
we should not generalize. No, we should be afraid of rule of the thumb, because when we say human beings, we'll be talking about Americans, Britons, Germans, Ghanaians. But here in Nigeria, we know ourselves. There is a DNA in our system that likes to cheat somebody.
Who gave us this DNA?
I wouldn't just know. That if you have one opportunity, slight opportunity over the other person, you just want to exploit it to cheat the person. And that is what causes violence in election. That is what causes restricting some governors and not restricting the other. So even the woman who sells vegetable in the market,
yes,
we want to cheat you. Somebody will want to use the measure. You want to buy gari, you will have reduced the content, and you will pay for you pay the correct bill to the person. So I don't know why people just like to cheat. So it is that one that is manifesting in any election we have in this country. That I alone, just mine.
Okay.
And that's our problem.
Williams, let's talk about the conduct of the Edo election amid the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, at some point, Nigerians were shouting that these politicians are something else, that they are closing schools, but they still want to go ahead with the conduct of Edo election, despite the ravaging COVID-19. From what you have seen so far, is the government, or is the how do I put it now? Is the country justified to have gone ahead with this Edo election, from your reading of the updates that we are getting, that largely, if you don't have your face mask, you will not be allowed to vote, even though we had complaints about adherence to the social distancing rule, largely. Even the European Center is decrying non-compliance to the COVID-19 protocols as we speak.
You see, let us not delude ourselves. We knew from the onset that there would not be compliance. We knew from the onset, because we saw it.
Is it part of our DNA, like Mr. Lukule was talking about?
If we say that, because we saw their campaigns leading to the election. We saw it now. So what did you expect? That they will suddenly say, right, you stand here, give 3 meters or thereabouts. They won't say that. I saw the governor himself, during his press conference. You saw behind him, there was like more than 100 people, packed together. So, see, they do not care. See, as this election concerns the politicians, that is what they care about. How to make sure that at the end of the day, they are the ones that are victorious. They do not care about public safety. They have no interest really on that. But as long as we can do this to benefit ourselves, because if they cared about public safety, this election should not have held.
Do you agree with him, Mr. Olukunle, that this election should not have held?
I do. You see, the fact of the matter is this.
Also bearing in mind that it's almost impossible to have a vacuum in government, because at the end of the day, it is one person that will benefit from that vacuum, and it may just be the sitting governor.
Yeah.
But before you respond, let's hear from another of our correspondents in Benin City. Hello, Emmanuel.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Pius.
Good evening, Emmanuel. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
All right. How has it been?
I want to say thank God for the beginning. So far, so good. The election has ended for today.
Where are you exactly? Where are you?
I'm still in the center. We are waiting for one particular unit. We are calling the
Which center?
I'm at the area local government in this state.
Okay.
So the precise Ward 7.
Yes.
Unit 7 rather. Ward 7. So we are waiting for one of the units to call the result. There are kind of arguments over there. I'm going to read out. We have 5 units.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't read out results, please.
Sorry?
Don't read out the results.
Okay.
Don't bother about the results yet.
All right.
Just give us
Like
a
I
sense
said,
of what is happening.
okay. What happened is everybody has started their vote for today. Although some persons are saying, yeah, like I said, in the many one years, we are waiting for the the result. Every other unit has been scored so far.
Off the mic during the internet or the break we had, you were telling me that there was some violence at some point where you were.
Yeah. That's true.
What happened? Would you like to describe to us what exactly happened?
Okay, I think one of the polling units to be precise, politicians always be, we are trying to, from the beginning, to see how we can sensitize the people, not to share their conscience. So one of the polling units, if not two, thereabouts, we were trying to use money to be precise, to lure voters, and it was ranging between 5,000. It was something I saw very well. I have to be sincere, it was both parties. One of the party was 5,000 naira, and while the other one was 2,000 naira to be precise.
2,000, 5,000.
Yes.
So it's a question of the highest bidder now.
But to my what is in most of the units that I witnessed, like in my own unit now, I can tell you categorically that we are really sensitized when we are there within ourselves, and I can boldly tell you that for those who want to collect the money, who collected the money, and I can tell you vividly that those who voted for their conscience did. And for those who voted for their conscience, of course, their vote counted very well. And for other units, of course, and I can categorically tell you that for those who were bidding for the 5,000, who were spending more of the 5,000, their vote for me did not give them purpose. It was the other way around. People collected the money for people voted for their conscience and they left. With the result so far.
That you have
like
seen.
I said, we are waiting. Yes. Like I said, so far, it's just only one unit. I can tell you categorically that it's only one party that is winning so far. Yes, with the result, yes.
Overall, having voted, how are the people feeling? How are the people of Edo State, particularly from where you are? What's the feeling in the air?
Yeah, I think that's my major concern here. That's my major concern here. What I'm really happy about is that people came out and out. Like when I came, I was a little bit disappointed. Like I people were not much. But later, people came in, they took me. And from what I saw from each of the units, the exception was like what they were really interested in was to vote their conscience. And they were really excited at the end of the day. What they voted for answers at the end of the day, and everybody has been so excited. At least we came here with the mindset that this is where you want to cast your vote and you want to win. And at the end of the day, you are seeing the reward. I think it's something you should be happy about. And you say you're expecting of whatever money that was rolling out in the field at the end of the day. So you're not really concerned about that. So you're concerned that you came here to vote and what the result of when we are voting for. Either of whatever money that was shared in the field. But it's so bad that at this time, at this stage of our election in country, that our politicians will not use such act. But for me, from what they have learned about the money, for those who feel like collecting the money is good for them, but I think they have been taught to let us to do that. Hey, we can still collect this money, we still vote for who we want to vote. If we don't want to collect the money, we vote for it.
I must thank you, Emmanuel, for this wonderful update you have given to us. Thank you so much. Nice job you are doing, and stay safe, please.
Yeah, sure. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Gentlemen, we will talk about that, but Mr. Olukule was making a point with respect to the COVID. I halted you at some point.
I cast my mind back to when late President Yar'Adua traveled out of Nigeria and got incapacitated over there. And he did not transmit power to Goodluck Jonathan, who was the deputy. And there was a vacuum in governance. And the National Assembly then invoked what they called doctrine of necessity to make emergency law that transmitted power to Yar'Adua and to Jonathan. Yeah. You see, if our politicians want to do the needful, they can do. but they just deliberately don't do what they should do. Now, if this election did not hold today, this country, Edo State will move on.
We're talking of a vacuum somewhere.
There will not be vacuum. There will not be vacuum because the same politician that came out with doctrine of necessity would come out with another thing that will not allow vacuum.
That will close that vacuum.
Yeah, vacuum will not exist.
But is it really worth suspending this with the way things are now? Is it really worth suspending this election for the COVID-19? Well, worth it anymore? No, even when schools are reopening, airports, domestic and international, and so on, it's as if life has come back to normal.
Well, you know, the prayer is that God should just save our people in Edo State, and of course, Ondo State that is preparing, because once one gets infected with COVID-19, it is not known immediately. So we don't know the damage that may have been done, but I pray that no damage will have been done today.
Okay, so now let's hear from William. William, you heard what our correspondent said with respect to the issue of vote buying. Does it gladden your heart that in spite of the money in circulation, from what he is saying, you and I were not there, that people collected money, but they still voted their conscience?
Well, that they
even went as far as saying that politicians would, from this kind of experience, learn their lessons.
Well, I don't know if they, in fact, did that, voted their conscience. I don't know that. He himself is not really.
It's just one man talking here. He's not, and then he's just talking for maybe one
from his own perspective. That's where he's speaking from. He's not even sure if those that took the money voted their conscience. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But the fact is this: that these people, that they can still be so brazen to bring such amount of money to the polling units to start inducing voters, tells you of how brazen they are. Now, these people that came with these bags of money trying to induce voters, were they arrested? I would think that part of the reason why the police are there is to arrest these people. So were they arrested?
In fact, earlier on, one of our callers said the policemen saw them doing it and they looked the other way around.
So what are we talking about? Now, we are already creating the grounds for the legal tussle that is going to come.
It's all right. With the little time we have on our hands, maybe we should just give a window for any of our callers who may have one or two things to say as far as the Edo governorship election is concerned. Don't forget, it is Edo special governorship election coverage here on Pensioners 106.7 FM at Barigo, Uniweki, Ibadan. My name is Pius Nsabe, and I have in the studio with me, doing justice to some of the issues cropping up, William Ero, Mr. and of course, Mr. Femi Olukule. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, this is Michael calling from Bodija.
You're welcome on the program, Michael.
Thank you very much. It's a good program.
Thank you.
For me, no matter how you try to buy votes, you cannot buy the majority. Look at what happened in your state. When you even said they are going this way, there's no way. How much you have to sign in every polling unit? This of the police for me, we got a security in this country, we all know. Our policemen are being compromised. They just call them in one corner, you take this one. They do the other way around.
Thank you very much. 0808-010-1067. 0808-010-1067. 0908-111-1067. 0908-111-1067. Mr. Olukule, can we have your take on that development with respect to what our correspondent said?
In fact, during the last election in Oyo State, there was a particular woman, big political giant.
Okay, let's take this call again.
Okay.
Hello. Hello, good evening.
Yeah. What I want to say concerning this election going on in the district, there's no way police can do anything. Even the police that is the day state now, they're still able to pay allowance. Or the police that the day state, they're not able to pay their allowance. This election and allowance. How do you expect police to get money from the state bank? So there's no way like that can be able to sustain this kind of parliament that happens.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel, for that wonderful. So let's get your take.
So, as I was saying, the woman was the one that doled out Naira notes to voters to buy their conscience. But the people voted for the person they wanted to vote for. And when the results were read by the INEC people, and the woman began to curse, she was crying and cursing people that you collected money from me and you did not vote. And people were mocking her. People were happy that they taught her a lesson. So what that caller, the first one, said, yes, and what my colleague here said, yes, it is high time people woke up to their civil responsibility. You see, these people that want to tempt you with money. Now, if you take it, you must know that it is your money that they stole that they are giving back to you. But you see, they can only give you money. They don't have power over your conscience.
Well, you have to show them evidence that you voted for them.
Yes,
some people have their strategy.
Some people do that.
You voted before they give you the money.
Some people did that, and that means those ones are the empire wreckers that we are talking about, wrecking the ship of the country.
But they will always be there.
They will always be there. But if they have been
impoverished, yes,
they are not in the majority. They are not in the majority, and the fact that they are not in the majority, we thank God, because that means the country is evolving, is maturing politically. So we thank God.
Okay, let's see if we can still squeeze one or two calls before we round off the program this beautiful evening. 0908-111-1067, 0908-111-1067, or 0808-010-1067. Now, gentlemen, as we begin to wind down on the program this evening, I'd like us to, with reference to what has happened in Edo State today, I'd like us to assess the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in terms of its preparedness towards our elections. Have we moved a step forward? Have we moved backwards? Or are we on the same spot?
I wouldn't say we have moved forward in terms of INEC performance in this election.
Okay.
Because the same problems we've always talked about, we are still talking about those same problems today. The malfunctioning card readers, more or less the way they went about orienting the people, is still the same.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say they've done something spectacular, but from what they've said, and from this their new innovation about this Z-pad and
yes,
life of the results. They've done that. I should be able to log into their website and get the results
real time
as they are posting it.
Yes,
but so I was not able to do that. You know, so I tried when you said it earlier in the morning. I was not aware of it.
Okay.
I tried to log into a INEC website to see if I can get it. But I did not get anything. Perhaps they've not loaded them. I'll go back and go and if they were able to do that, perhaps that would be the innovation we are talking about.
That's actually why I asked that question, because according to them, that innovation, the Z-pad, will help, apart from authenticating your fingerprint now with your facial recognition. It will also be used to upload the results, on the portal that's been provided.
So if they've done that truly, then perhaps we'll see that is an improvement. But we are not certain yet of that. About the braille that they said they were going to also implement.
Yes.
From what I have gathered, that has not been implemented. But then there's a lot of money that has been spent on that.
Anyway, in the days ahead, we will talk about that perhaps when the elections have come and gone and the results have been announced. But for now, let me get the assessment of Mr. Femi Olukunle as far as INEC is concerned.
You see, I believe that INEC needs the help of the National Assembly so much. In Kogi election, INEC itself, the operators of INEC, they saw how ballot boxes were hijacked and destroyed. And the results of those vote centers where they got their votes destroyed were presented to INEC, and they said they had no power to stop it. So the National Assembly should empower the umpire, the INEC, very well with necessary laws that will make them to be able to deal with situations on ground. And then it was also said that this card reader was not backed up by law. When
a lot of issues around the country.
There are so many issues. So the National Assembly should not shy away from its responsibility.
The National Assembly did its responsibility and passed it over to the president, but the president did not assent to some electoral laws.
We are talking about if the National Assembly pass any law to the president concerning the election, and the presidency failed to, then we must leave.
It's all right. I'd like to say a very, very big thank you to my guests this beautiful evening, Mr. William Ero, for coming on the program, and Edulite for that matter.
Yes,
having you around.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
And Mr. Femi Olukule, thank you for honoring this invitation.
Thank you.
I must say thank you to all those who have contributed to this program, starting with the producer of the program, Babatunde Tiami. A very special thank you to Ibirumi Ishola for making this come to pass, and of course, Babafemi Obideyi for your support. I must not fail to acknowledge Idris Abiola for being there, pressing the right buttons and making sure things go on fine with us in the studio this evening. And a very, very special thank you to the General Manager, Mary Shitu, for your wonderful support. I sincerely appreciate you. And to our Oga, the MD Managing Director of Pensioners 106.7 FM, Comrade Olusegun Abatan, the board chairman, Chief BC Adeshola. Thank you all for being there. It's been a 2020 special election coverage on Pensioners 106.7 FM. My name is Pius Nsabe. Let's do this again come October 10 when Ondo go to the polls. Thank you and have yourself a lovely day. Stay out of electoral violence wherever you find yourself in this country.
Thank you.